I said, I'm Jooseppi, this is Darrien, and we have Josh. Dave was unfortunately had a last minute work commitment that prevented him from coming here. And what we want to talk to you about is our project called Pillzio. Basically, we were inspired to start this project. Sorry. Because basically we noticed there's a problem with older people having trouble managing their medications. Basically, as you get older, it's been shown that your mental capacities for remembering things and for multitasking go down, while your medication count simultaneously goes up. And so this creates sort of a problem with medication adherence among older people. There's recent statistics that show that there are about 125,000 people per year die because of basically mistakes taking their medication, and about 58% of medication-related hospital visits are due to medication non-adherence, which is improperly taking your pills. So basically, what we want, currently the only solutions we have are involve either a lot of expensive human health, home health aids, or they require a lot of tech savvy, which most people in this group, older people who are having trouble taking their pills, they don't have that tech savvy. And so right here, to that and to talk about the solution that we're trying to present to this problem is Darrien Glasser.
Well, let's talk about the solution, our solution. But we'd like it to be the solution. Our idea at Pillzio is we want a simple automated pills management app. Not just an app, it's got a couple of components. We'll talk about that in a minute. But a way that makes it easy to remember to take your pills and manage it all in one place. So we'll have a caretaker take care of it as well. We want it to be cost effective. Other solutions in the market are much more expensive. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Or they're more difficult to use. It doesn't require the user to be tech savvy. So even someone very old should be able to use this. And it's supposed to be inexpensive, straightforward to manufacture, and use existing technology, so you don't need to buy yourself in proprietary hardware. Or hardware that will only work on one platform made by us. We want it to be accessible to everyone. Finally, we want to relieve stress from caregivers. As is, I'm sure it's a pain if you have to deal with someone else. You have to say, have you taken your pills? Have you taken your pills? Have you taken your pills? Even as I have a little sister who I have to badger sometimes. I have to ask, have you taken your pills? And sometimes she'll answer yes, and sometimes she'll answer no. So automating it, we have to make it a little easier. So let's jump into some demos real quick so we can show off a little bit of this here.
My name is Josh Glasser. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the software side of what we're doing here, because that's part of our platform in addition to this connected pill box. So one of our main integrations, we decided to integrate with Google Assistant. And why did we do this? Well, it allows us to very easily have a user who might not be the most tech savvy talk and interact with our devices. For instance, an elderly person, when we did some trials, they found a voice interactive assistant was far easier to use than an application or a website. So let's demo some of what's happening. So I'm going to hold this to the mic and we're going to hope that the Google Assistant isn't shy and likes to talk today. Okay, Google, talk to my test app.
I'm good. How are you?
All right, talk to you. What are my pills? Wow, it's very cool. There we go. Let's try this again. What are my pills?
Your medications are aspirin, Vicodin, Zoloft, and naproxen. Would you like anything else?
Describe Vicodin.
Vicodin is a cylindrical light blue pill.
Okay, well, let's try something else. Okay, Google, ask my test app, what are my next pills?
Sure, here's the test version of my test app.
Your next medications are Vicodin at 8 on Tuesday, Zoloft at 16 on Friday, and naproxen at 17 on Wednesday.
I'll stop her before she rambles on too long about all the pills that we have to take from demoing tonight. But, anyways. Not like that. So, as you can see, it's very easy to talk to this assistant. You can do a couple other things. But what I showed up there, I'll talk about briefly. First of all, you can ask it about your pills. What are your pills? And this is something that a lot of senior citizens taking a lot of pills might not remember. Additionally, you can ask it to describe pills. So if it says, what are my next pills? And it says, oh, it's time for you to take your aspirin. You might be wondering, well, which one's my aspirin? Well, as you heard, it can say, oh, I think I said Vicodin this time, and it was a white round pill or so. and that can help you identify it in certain situations. So that's why we want that voice interaction. But how do we know that it's taken? How do we know, kind of keep track of that? How does the caregiver get this peace of mind? Or I think Jooseppi's going to talk a bit about that.
So I'm going to talk a bit about our hardware piece here, which we don't have powered up right now. So what I can still show, basically we got a pillbox from Walmart, and what we did is we integrated it with a Raspberry Pi, small mini computer. They're around $5 to $10 a piece, depending on what version you get. And basically we instrumented this pillbox with sensors that detect when the box is open or closed, and there are LEDs that would in the future be integrated on the box. Right now they're mounted on the breadboard. But basically, the Google Assistant can prompt and say, hey, it's time to take your pills, and it'll light up, take pills from this box. And when you open the box, it then turns off the LED and reports back from our main server, okay, this person has opened the box, taken their pills. Something that we might try to integrate into this in the future, we were talking about perhaps weight sensors, and tonight someone proposed the idea of light sensors in there that can basically detect are the pills still in the box. So it's not just that someone opened the box and close it to take their pills, but sort of like a secondary confirmation that the pills are actually off the box. What we would like to do with this in the future is we can either go to a smaller Raspberry Pi, or ultimately with a product we go for a much smaller computer, like just basically on the bottom of a custom manufactured pillbox that can then have Google Assistant loaded on it. So basically the pillbox is the Google Assistant that talks to you. You can talk to it, it can tell you you've taken your pills, or report back if your pills have been taken or not. And one of the pluses with this thing is that basically what we're trying to make a pillbox that's as similar as possible to existing products, so that you can drop this into someone and be like, it doesn't change their routine more than you absolutely have to. So you're not introducing a new style of pillbox or a different way of doing it. You're still taking the same pills from the same box, from the similar box. Just this one helps you do it better. Now, to talk more about the market for this solution is Josh Glasser.
Okay. So I know this one's very important to people, but what we want to talk about is, how are we going to make money off of our device? Well, the medical device market is rapidly growing, and right now it's at around $500 million, which is quite a lot. And that would be something we'd like to get into, or at least it's supposed to be reaching around $500 million by 2020 in a few short years. So what we look at for our primary markets that we'd like to be selling to is not only elderly directly, but also caregivers who are known as part of the sandwich generation, where you're taking care of both your elderly parents and your young kids at the same time. This can be helpful to take some stress off of them. Additionally, they'll have some of the tech savvy of, we try and dumb it down make it as easy to set up as possible, but they will have the additional tech knowledge that might be necessary for this product to work correctly. Additionally, independent living centers with many people to keep track, they can use the web client that we developed, where you can then talk more about your bills. So the next thing we want to talk about is a bit of the cost of production and kind of how we're going to market it. Well, it costs us around $30 to produce this singular prototype. As with most things with consumer electronics, it is a lot cheaper to produce these in mass. So we would expect these prices to fall drastically. And any competition that we saw or things in the similar market were in around the $120 range for the cheap end of that, going up to $400. So below that would be good, and we want to get it as cheap as possible in order to make it more desirable to the consumer and compete with it. We can't ever directly compete with regular pillbox, but we can make it not that much more. On top of that, we don't really need to charge a subscription fee for the service because the marginal cost added per consumer is very minimal. So once our servers are running, it's a fixed cost, and that can be accounted for by the sales of pillboxes themselves. Additionally, no extra cost is useful, as it will help increase consumer demand, we believe, lowering the total cost for the product over the lifetime of the person. So I think Darren's going to talk a little bit about why we should be funded.
So we believe this project is very important. We want to be able to make a difference in the lives of those who need it. For those who it's difficult to remember to take their pills, it's just an issue for people who are taking the pills, but also people who need to take care of them as well. To be able to automate it, to make it a lot easier, this is a problem that we want to be able to solve. Help people maintain dignity as they age, be able to take care of themselves as well. It's very important. And we also want to be able to make an inexpensive, innovative solution to the problem. something that's able to break through the market, show off to everyone. There's also a very large target market. People would definitely be willing to buy this. We want to be able to show it off to everyone. So, that's all.
Yes, and we believe that our product could not only give people independence, but also helping them with medication adherence. They could help lower the amount of people having to do hospital visits or getting ill because of medication non-adherence, and it could improve it could improve their quality of life and reduce healthcare costs at the same time. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Nice presentation. Again, I think it's just like the other one. I think there's a real message here, and I think probably most of us around the table probably deal with that as our parents, kids, and so I think the target market is a real market. I have a couple of questions. So in terms of, I think the last part of the presentation you talked about, how you're going to approach the pricing of this, and it's basically a non-subscription model. The cost or your revenue comes out of the cost of the device itself, and so it struck me because I didn't expect that coming to the end, and so I just was curious of why you decided to go that way, and had you made any considerations for a subscription model where you could potentially add a services component to the device as well, because for some people that, like proactive phone calls or something, to that effect.
Yeah, so for the base application, the reason we didn't go with a service model is for what little competition there is there, we wanted to make sure we could get as big market share as possible, which would help later in the future. Additionally, we could add extra features for a subscription fee if we want, but we feel like the base service needs to be there, needs to be free beyond the initial purchase in order to actually get consumers to go out and buy this. Because why am I going to buy a pill box for $50 if I then have to spend $5 a year or a month, whatever we decide on, maybe $1 a month for the rest of the life of my parent, totaling maybe $200 to $300 for this pill box. So I feel like that can be an attraction to people. At least I guess on that.
As well, most of the competing products, which are don't use a subscription model, so we believe that the subscription model, there is one product that uses a subscription model, I think it's like $40 a month, but most of the rest of them are you buy and then you have it. So we believe, we believe that a subscription model could potentially hinder our sales as compared to competitors that don't have a subscription model.
And the last thing to add here is an alternate model is if we do get into the, which would be optimal in an insurance market, then you can charge insurers separately, maybe charge them a subscription fee, because for them, they're saving more money by paying us to help manage pills than they would for their patient to end up in the emergency room. So in that case, you can kind of look into that types of models.
Thank you. Another question, just in terms of when you did the demo, you were asking about the Vicodin and what pills am I taking, and that was all well and good. And I heard one of the responses being a blue pill, and so that made me think about the fact that I manage the pills for my mom, and with generics and biosimilars out, is like depending on the manufacturer, there's different colors, different sizes, and so what is your source of the truth to make sure that you're giving some appropriate information, because you don't know where your patient is buying their drugs from.
So Darren can speak a bit more about this too in a second here, but we didn't talk too much about our web client, but that information actually added by you when you put in your medication, because we acknowledge that it's very difficult to get an accurate prescription of pills. There are certain medical databases that can give you a fairly accurate, you give a name of the pill, mainly whoever manufactures the generic, that type of stuff. I know Johnson Labs offers one that has been used. It was used at a hackathon here earlier. They offer credits and stuff, but there are certain sources. But right now, we actually source from someone. That way, you can get as descriptive as possible. And if you have multiple pills that are somewhat similar, you can put maybe a key phrase in there that will remind the person taking the pill, oh, this is the blue one that is also shaped like a dinosaur or something.
Just a comment to that, because they change frequently, right? Especially if you're using subscription services like Allscripts and things like that. So just be aware that it might be difficult for somebody to constantly be updating, what that is, and you could be, and then they can use mistakes made at the pharmacy, so you just have to, I think figuring out the right source and making sure that you're taking that burden off especially the elderly patient that's confused as all heck when they get different size pills for the same thing. It's just it's a real consideration.
Thank you.
So you're right that it's a real big problem and the consequences are severe in an emergency room or worse. But that also means there's a lot of people out there, a lot of competition out there for you guys. So how much research have you done on alternative solutions? How is your solution different?
So some of the pluses to our solution, a lot of sort of the existing solutions we could find are either involve more in-home health or frequently like visiting or calling people, saying happy pills, and then even there can be a thing like they were like, I took my pills, but they actually didn't, they don't remember that they didn't kind of thing. Also, as far as existing more automated things, there are pill dispensers that will dispense pills into pill boxes. That's a little different from us because it's not actually reminding you to take your pills. Then there's about 4 competitors or so that we looked at in the pill box market right now. One of them is the one that I mentioned has a $40 a month subscription. One of them looks pretty decent, looks similar to what we're doing, but then if you look at the Amazon reviews, all the complaints, it's like 1 or 2 stars, and all people are saying that basically their customer service is horrible. Then there's one that that's another solution, I don't remember the name of the company, but basically their target market, at least based on their website and their customer testimonials, looks to be like people playing sports in their 20s, 30s, 40s who need to take pills, and it requires you to use an app and have a smartphone, a lot of tech savvy. And there's another one that only has, I don't think I mentioned this one, I'm losing track, that only has 4 slots, where you really want 7 because there's, and that's more of an earlier product. It looks like our recent Kickstarter product, so they could well still be refining it. That one, their company is based in the UK. And they said they're releasing a 7-slot model, but it's going to be somewhere well over $100, and I don't think it's clear when the release date is.
You probably want 7 times 3 because elderly people take a morning pill and afternoon do their evening pill.
Right. Yeah. Our management structure for the back-end stuff that was dealing with that does actually sort by morning, afternoon, evening. So you can actually use that with your own pill container if you wanted to, but we could look into things with that. But additionally, the main thing with other more advanced things, which I'd say that you're talking about is the auto dispense your pill things, is they're in the range of $400, which is cost prohibitive to many people.
Yeah, thank you. I think just one final comment. I think that this is the first piece of it. The second piece is compliance, and that's really where people go wrong.
Right.
Is they take the wrong pill at the wrong time, or forget, or take too many pills, or whatever. So when you mentioned that you need to have some kind of optimal monitoring to ensure compliance, I think that's an important piece. I think without that, this product is probably not as valuable.
Yeah, so most of the existing products do just use a sensor house if it open or close. I think something like an optical sensor could really take it to the next level. And you also mentioned morning, afternoon, you need something like, this is just a pill box we picked up from Walmart to do part of it, and you could easily expand it to a slot or what have you. So yeah, thank you.
I just had a question on the cost of production. It just seems like the cost of the parts and somehow assemble themselves.
So this was the cost of production. This is the cost of production of us working in the basement. This is the cost of production of us working in the basement assembling.
In the basement assembly, okay.
So the thing with the cost of production, though, is if we actually pay to produce these parts, the cost to produce an individual unit will drop, while the actual cost of manufacturing goes up. All in all, we'll end up cheaper with the economies of scales that kind of come into play. For instance, the sensors drop down to 50 to 10 cents. When we're paying $2.50 for them, we do them in small batches. And additionally, the Raspberry Pis themselves that we're using as the microcontrol for this, we can easily cut that cost down to around $5 or so. Well, maybe it's already listed as $5, but $5 for a batch, which is like 10 if we're doing them in batches of 10. So since those manufacturing costs go down a lot, or the cost of parts goes down a lot, when we actually pay for manufacturing, that shouldn't hurt too much. If we're looking to invest into a facility or something, that has obviously a lot more production costs we can take into account, at least at the beginning. but then also our units will go up, so our unitary costs will be a lot cheaper.
We have a good sequence here, it works out. I was gonna ask you, are you someone with a pill dispenser or drugs? Never mind. That wasn't okay. So first off, I really appreciate that your prototype involves both software and apps as well as hardware. It's timely and it's where a lot of the real opportunities are out in the market. I do have a question, and this is a sincere question. Since you are providing a service for specific bills, and we know that there's potential outcomes of getting that wrong, are there any legal concerns or any concerns that you have with that?
Yes, I know one that comes out immediately for, not even just for getting it wrong, but for managing user data as HIPAA compliance, that we've already looked into for different things. But additionally, there's definitely some concerns related to miscommunication and that type of stuff. I would imagine it would be covered similar to how a pillbox is normally covered. So I don't think the liability tends to fall with the manufacturer and misuse of those types of things. However, we would want to hire a very good lawyer to help draft some, end user agreements and that type of stuff. Additionally, we have disclaimers even on our website now that we can't guarantee. So when you ask what color is the pill, right? We can't guarantee that's the 100% color. In the end, the user still is still somewhat responsible for that. For company strategies, there's many things we have to look into when we go for selling, at least to a wider audience. For now, with prototyping, there aren't any liabilities to worry about, since it'll be a very selective crowd that would sue us, hopefully. But there's definitely a lot of consideration.
Thank you.